YouTubers, I watched this hilarious episode of MTV Cribs called the Oppression Edition by Trevor Noah, our boy that hosts The Daily Show. So anyway, I watched it and he was frick funny. You should watch it. But what he did was he went back home to his house and his grandmother, his gogo in Soweto, and he interviewed her about the years of apartheid, and he asked her about like what was it like, and she said it was really bad and she would never ever want to go back to it. But although she said that, and it resonates with so many people, and it's almost one of those things that you don't have to ask about, there are some people that are asking the question, was apartheid really that bad? And it's very easy to just, start off telling people, of course it was bad, just like, don't even ask about it. But what I thought I'd do is actually try and figure out who's asking this question and then respond to them. So just a very quick, so I've got my daughter here and she's just chilling in the background, keeping very quiet, so thank you so much. Yeah, so the first thing that you need to know is that apartheid was a racial discrimination at its highest level. It was legislated. It was legislated. It was it's okay. It was a system of racial hierarchization with white people and then colored people / Indian people and then black people at the bottom. Okay, so you still see that today in the way with regards to household incomes per racial group, and we still use these racial categories today when applying for a job or when applying to study. So these racial groupings still exist today. So who would be asking these types of questions? So this is important because it's not just people that I think are just trying to be controversial. People that lived through apartheid, no matter which racial group you are, you have your own firm ideas of what apartheid was like. Either you benefited from it or you didn't. You lost people, family members because of it. Whatever the case may be, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people that are sincerely asking, was apartheid that bad? So, for example, I would estimate that since 1994 was our first democratic election, when we're asking this question, it would be people that were born in the early 90s or post 1994. Those born post 1994 are people that that we call born frees. Okay, so they're born free in democratic country. So for me personally, and I can only ever talk from my personal perspective, I can give you the short answer to the question: was apartheid really that bad? Yes, it was. Here's a bit of a longer question. So, this is a little bit of a story to hopefully show you why it is so bad and how the effects are still felt today. So, my husband and I were going to buy a house in this really beautiful leafy area in Cape Town, and we decided ultimately not to. But I found out after my dad died, which was a few years ago, I found out where this incident happened that I'm going to tell you about. So I actually was going to buy a house in the same area when my dad got shot during apartheid. He was only 16 years old and he was pretty harmless. He was cycling through a white area during the day. And what happened was that he was shot and then he was thrown in prison. And his family didn't hear from him for 2 weeks. Now, if you're Muslim, you will get buried and you die. You get buried on the same day. That's just the way it is. But because they couldn't find his body, they buried him. And this was something that was normal during apartheid, where people would just go missing. So then they actually had a funeral for him in the 2 weeks that he was gone. but then luckily what happened was that he still had his piece of his bike with him, and when somebody left the prison, he gave them the piece of his bike, and told that person his mom's address, and that's how they figured out that he was still alive. They got him, and this is why I'm here today. So I'm here today because of a small piece of bike and some really wonderful human being that passed a message my dad was still alive. So the reason why I'm telling you the story is because sometimes when we go and, for example, think about buying a house in a nice area, we might look around us and say, okay, well, things are much better now. I can buy this house. You see, it was a formerly white area, but who cares? It's just green and leafy. But when I think about the fact that of what happened to my father, an innocent 16-year-old on a bike, it really cuts me to the core, because this is how we all live our lives these days, especially if you reach a particular social class, when you are at a level now where you're earning a lot of money and you are able to go to the places where you want to go and so forth. That's the moment when it's so critical, when you should actually start reeling it back and asking yourself the tough questions. So for those of you that might be professional people in your late 20s, early 30s, with a diverse group of friends, able to go to the beaches and the mountains and all the places that you want to go around Cape Town, South Africa, I want you to remember that we still in 2018, the 22nd of December, we still have something called township tours. So you can tour a township in Cape Town, for example. You can see that there are people that when it rains, the ground is wet, the floor is wet. Okay, a lot of people that, and I mean, I'm ashamed to say some of them are even my own family, have asked me, for example, is the K word really that bad? Yes, my answer to them is yes, the K word is that bad. And I said, you know why you asking this question? Because you were never called that word. That's why you have the luxury of being able to ask this question. So but actually, at the same time, I'm glad that they asked me, because then at least I can respond. So to everybody that's my daughter in the background. So to everybody that's asking this question sincerely, because when they look around and they see a beautiful Cape Town, remind yourself that yes, things are not that rosy yet. Because if you work yourself back from the CBD, so from Cape Town, Central Business District, for example, or any central CBD in any province in South Africa, work yourself backwards and look at how the roads deteriorate, the homes, the areas become more and more scary. There's less and less police as you move into areas which need it the most. And also, if you look at the level of drug, the problem that we have with drug abuse and where it's concentrated, we know that the legacy of apartheid is still very much felt. So let's not fool ourselves into thinking that apartheid wasn't so bad, because at least we got some free books and some perks here and some perks there. Because in reality, there were no perks, especially for people that fell on the bottom of the racial hierarchy, which were black people. So that was the long answer. Was apartheid really that bad? Yes. Should we ever go back to any form of it? No. And yes, let me just throw it in there. Is the K word really that bad? Yes, it is. And I always tell people this. If you want to use the K word, start with my daughter. Start by calling her the K word. And everyone always gets shocked when I say this. But the reason why I say that is because she is, I love her to death. She's my daughter. And yeah, if you want to spew this kind of vitriol and horrific name calling, start with my daughter. If you're such a big person, you're such an adult. Because when you start telling people to say, okay, fine, you want to use the K word, use it with my daughter. Use it with somebody that you actually know, or that I actually know. So you can start feeling how disgusted you should feel in yourself for using that. And also, just by the way, there is no such thing as colored. And yes, I do see myself as black. So also, I guess we could start talking about, hopefully, about the real way, how to actually be who we really are. You know, this whole idea of becoming. We are always in a state of becoming. South Africa is also in a state of becoming, and you get to decide what it's going to ultimately look like. So, yeah, apartheid was that bad. We are moving forward, but let's not move forward ignorantly, okay? Just because we can buy a house in a beautiful area, it doesn't mean that something that is sick didn't happen because of that. And that's why the property value is so high. It's high because I got to shoot a whole lot of black people and colored people. It was criminal. In any case, so I hope that this has helped you start thinking differently about your own country. And if you just clicked on this because you already knew the answer, yeah, it was bad, you wanted to know what I thought. Now that you know, hit me in the comment section. Tell me what your thoughts are. Let's talk about this. Let's widen the conversation about our own identity and our own place in this beautiful, beautiful country. Okay, that's me. You can catch me on Twitter at Amiena with the hashtag Amiena Inspired. I would love to hear from you. Okay, much love. Bye bye.